Chapter 26. After spending all day in my hut, avoiding everyone in Rebirth, I decide another day can't pass. I have to corner Gavin and get him to talk. He needs to stop shutting me out and trying to control me. But more than all my frustration with him, it's critical he works with me to solidify a plan to save everyone in Impetus. He knows that community better than anyone. The urgency can't wait any longer. If it took Gavin 12 years to save me, more lives than I can stomach could be wrongly punished and lost the longer we wait to free them. No more days should pass when people aren't able truly to thrive in life because of numbness. No more innocent lives should be taken just because Impetus deems them as unacceptable to the mold they've created. Every morning, I've been waking up looking forward to the moment Liam steps into my hut for our daily breakfast routine. I'm scared that'll change now after what Gavin shared with him. Instead of finding out, I'm taking matters into my own hands. Come nighttime, I fight hard against sleep, striving to stay awake. I doze in and out, but my body remains alert. When I hear the faint rustling outside, I seize the adrenaline and jump out of my cot. Peeking from behind my door curtain, I watch Gavin go to the supply hut as he fills up his backpack, then turns back to hike his standard morning route. This time, though, I follow. We take several twists and turns out of Rebirth, going deep into the woods. It's eerie out here, with little light to guide us. Gavin easily maneuvers his way through it all, without a compass, as though he could do it with his eyes closed. My eyes are practically closed from the darkness as I try to keep up with him. After several miles, the sky is much lighter, and the landscape looks familiar. The foliage has changed to strong, lean trees that grow closely together and reach into the clouds, similar to what has been manufactured to surround Impetus. After another mile, our clearing that we used to have our meetings at appears. He's returning to our old spot. As soon as Gavin gets there, he stops, puts down his backpack, and turns around to face where he came from.
Do you plan to hide all day, or are you joining me out here?
He knows. I step out from my hiding spot behind a tree, embarrassed and on edge, unsure how severe his level of irritation is from me following him. You knew? I ask.
Give me some credit. I saw you from the moment you left your hut. I figure if you want to follow me, it's your own decision. Besides, it's probably time we talk more, and what better place to do it in?
Despite the significance of his last remark, his face hardens with a clenched jaw and eyes void of emotion. I step out of the woods into the clearing, the memories of our time together here rushing back at me, carried by waves of strong emotions that nearly knock me back. It's almost comforting to be back here again. 12 years of meetings with Gavin, and somehow I felt like I knew him more back then than what I do now. Gavin, I miss you. I don't know what else to say except the truth. Especially being in our spot, the truth socks my stomach worse than any accidental punch I've encountered from my boxing matches in Rebirth. Gavin's eyes soften, but his jaw remains set.
Evangeline.
I interrupt him before he can say anything else. I gently place my hands on his crossed arms and softly speak. No, I'm Evie. You call me Evie. That helped. Gavin's jaw relaxes and his lips part to allow a tender sigh to escape. When he holds my gaze, I think that maybe I have the old him back. Then he uncrosses his arms, forcing me to withdraw my hands, and ardently turns away from me. He walks a few steps, then bends down and moves the grass away from a spot in the ground. Gavin pulls a shovel out of his backpack and digs. All I can do is stare at him. I can't believe he didn't acknowledge my comment. Despite what I said, he's still choosing to be distant. Gavin, did I do something wrong or what? I finally lash out. I can't hold it in anymore. Gavin stops digging. He doesn't turn around, but responds with,
"No."
After a heavy sigh, he drops the shovel to the ground. He sits down on our old log with hunched shoulders.
"No, you have done nothing wrong."
Assuming it's safe to move closer, I sit next to him, cautiously keeping my eyes on the ground as though eye contact would scare him off. I don't know how to fix this, I confess. I am willing to be as vulnerable as I can to get our relationship back to normal. I'm fighting against giving up.
"I don't know how to explain it all, Evie."
He's using my nickname again. That's a good sign.
"It's weird having you in Rebirth now. I always thought when that day would come, it would be so different from what it has been."
Although I want to ask Gavin what he means, I don't want to interrupt him. He's ready to talk, and I'll move heaven and earth to allow that to happen.
"I yearned for the day I could tell you everything. I thought it would be when I brought you to Rebirth. But I can't, because I still have to be careful. Things aren't as they seem. Not yet. I'm trying to get them there. Every day I'm working on getting them there. There's a delicate balance of doing what I need to do and keeping you safe. That's always been my biggest concern. Ever since I met you, that's what I fought to do." "You're smart, Evie. You need room to figure out things on your own. I know you need that, and I need you to do that too, to help me. Whether you realize it, you're helping me every single day, especially when I want to give up."
He stops talking and puts his head in his hands.
I'm not sure I'm making sense.
Before Gavin said that last line, I was on the edge of screaming that exact thing to him. He isn't making any sense. He's treating me like I'm still in Impetus. Instead of reacting, I take a deep breath and gently rub his back with my hand. "No, you're not making sense." I agree. But it's nice to hear you say more than a few words again. I've missed hearing you speak, even if incoherently. I joke to ease the tension. Gavin's back crumbles at that remark, though. He sucks in his breath and sits back up, turning to face me. I expect another yelling match. I said the wrong thing again. I clench my fists in anticipation. Instead, he wraps his arms around me and pulls me closer.
"I'll try harder. I'll try to share more with you. Just trust me, please, and know that there's a reason behind my choices. It'll become clear soon."
I nod in his neck. At this moment, I would say yes to anything he asked me. I'm breathing him in while sitting on our old log, and this time I can feel him as his hands grip my back. This is ideal. It's the perfect blend of our old life with our new.
"Hey,"
he says, and pulls back from me. He takes his other hand and pulls a small yellow flower from the grass. He drags it across my arm, leaving a yellow dust trail.
"Do you feel that?"
Gavin smiles at me, reminiscing the old game we used to play. The tingle of the flower delicately grazing my skin causes goosebumps to rise. For an instant, the impulse to make them go away overtakes me. Those have only occurred with Liam, and it feels like betrayal having them appear without him. But the history with Gavin goes much deeper than that. So having us frozen in time, playing this old game, except with now so much more at stake, is exciting. Because this time, I can actually say, yes. I exhale. Gavin drops the flower, takes my arm and presses his lips to the goosebumps. More appear and a quiver shoots through my entire body. His lips continue to travel past my elbow as he pushes my shirt sleeve up and kisses to the edge of my shoulder. Gavin then brings his lips just inches away from my own. Looking in his eyes, I see a myriad of emotions cross through them like a lightning storm. Fear, desire, anger, adoration. He seems to have a war within himself, debating whether to make the next move. When Gavin starts to move his lips to my forehead, the area he has apparently deemed as the safe zone, I grab his face with my hands and move his lips to mine instead. This move stuns him and even surprises me. Our mouths connect, and at first, in a twisted element of shock, neither one of us moves. But then the movement becomes natural, and I melt into him. First, the kiss starts slow, but then the intensity increases as flickers of our past and all the little moments we've ever had flash in my mind. Everything is coming together and making sense, as though this was the purpose behind it all. This kiss is the reason for everything. When it comes to a reluctant end, Gavin leans his forehead against mine and breathes out. I have wanted to do that for years. I'm struggling to catch my breath and failing to form coherent thoughts. Yeah, is all I can muster breathlessly as I continue to play with the hair on the back of his head, which is where my hands have found rest. After several blissful minutes of basking in silence and honoring the event that finally transpired, Gavin kisses me on the forehead and stands back up. I watch him return to the spot he was previously digging at, pick up his shovel, and continue his work. Soon he pulls out a plastic bag. As he opens it, a letter falls out. He unfolds it carefully and reads. "What is that?" I ask, curious for how he knew it was there. Gavin doesn't respond as his eyes move back and forth down the paper. Once finished, he looks up at me, and I can already predict he will tell me he can't share what he's doing. However, he responds with,
"It's a letter from my inside connection to Impetus. They are informing me of important events that have taken place."
Who? Who writes you? Do I know them? What's happening there? Is everyone okay? Too many questions. I know it as soon as they are out of my mouth, but it's too late to reel them back. Gavin shakes his head.
"Evie, I told you I'd tell you more, and I will, but I can't tell you everything. Not yet. You have to trust me."
It's like you don't trust me, Gavin. I won't tell anyone. My words sound whiny, but all the confusion and anger boiling inside erupt over the edge of the pot before I can shut the lid. I want to help rescue people in Impetus like he does. There are specific people I need to save. I can help. But without him sharing anything, it makes me feel so worthless and useless, like absolutely everything is out of my control again, just like I'm in Impetus again. I have to do something, Gavin. I can't stand by when I know people are suffering and they don't even realize they are suffering, which somehow makes it worse. Gavin takes a pen out of his pocket and scribbles notes on the back of the piece of paper, returns it to the bag, and covers it with dirt in the same hole it came out from. "We need to save people from Impetus," I repeat. Gavin's back stiffens. He stays bent down on his feet, digging at the dirt. "Gavin, are you listening to me?" Silence. "Gavin!" Speaking through gritted teeth, he warily enunciates. "I heard you, Evie." He throws sticks and rocks on the dirt pile and stands up. With his hands on his hips, he adds, "You don't know what we are up against." His tone is like he's talking to a little kid, which makes me explode. What we're up against? Does it even matter? We are talking about people's lives here. I know they are trying to control a population by taking away feeling, which leaves everyone little else to live for. And they are punishing and killing lives. Everyone in Impetus needs a choice. They need to know the truth. They are living on nothing but lies. I plant my feet stronger in the ground to control my shaking body, desperate for him to see the problem. He has known about this for years. How can he just let it happen? Saving a few people at a time isn't helping anything. I sputter out. Gavin whips around, his face glowing with fury. "You have no clue what I do here.
And you have no clue how big this thing actually is, Evangeline. It may not seem like it to you, but I do have a plan. Besides, I saved you, didn't I? Why haven't you once acted grateful for that? So since you rescued me, I'm supposed to walk around in complete blinding trust, not caring about tomorrow and not giving a damn about anyone else because you're the almighty savior and you alone have it under control. I point my finger at him. You were the one that taught me to question things my entire life. So here I am, questioning things. I'm questioning you. But now since it's directed at you, you don't like it. You only like what you can control, Gavin. Well, you won't control me. Not any longer. You're wrong. I've never controlled you. You are as stubborn as all can be. That's why I've had to work so hard to protect you. You don't even realize everything I've had to do and how it's all been for you. Well, let me make it easy for you. Stop protecting me. I'm a big girl, Gavin.
I turn on my heel to head back into the trees.
Evangeline, Gavin warns. You don't know how to get back.
I turn around and glare at him.
Stop trying to protect me.
I don't need you.
I don't need you.
I say again, stressing each word. Gavin's face falls, and his hands drop to his side. I've never seen him look so small before. A part of me wants to run to his arms and do whatever it takes to redeem everything that each one of us has said. The other side is screaming reminders of how sick I am of all he hides and how I'm constantly forced to question my trust in him. The latter wins out, so I take off without another look in his direction, sprinting through the trees, weaving myself in and out to lose him if he's following me. Despite the emotions running high, I'm intentional with the path I take. I purposely head straight back in the same way we took to get to our spot, but then cut sharply to the right, looping back closer to the tree lines. Gavin had taken me to our spot, a place I know like the back of my hand. I know how to get back to Impetus. If he won't save all the people there, I will. Tonight, I'm going back.